I coped with my dad's deployment by not always thinking about where he was and just going on with my life, waiting till he comes back.
When I was in first grade and my dad went to Afghanistan for 10 months, I remember that I went to the library and I just checked out fiction and fantasy books so I can just escape from the world that I was in and just dive into a world of like knights and magic and a little bit of romance. And I also listened to music, and my first grade class, when it was Valentine's Day, we made Valentine's cards to send to my dad and his friends. And like in the middle of second grade, he just came back, and you know, he was gone, but then an airplane came in and he was back again.
My dad was last deployed 2008. I really don't have a very good memory of it, but I knew he was gonna be safe because he was on a big floating city in the middle of the ocean, so I didn't think he was gonna get hurt much. But just coping with deployment and not having him, I just decided to look to friends, you know, find some good people that'll stand by you for a long time, and hopefully till you die, be your friends for life.
To deal with deployment, I turned to after-school activities and clubs just to keep my mind busy and keep off all the troubles I may be having with discovering that he wouldn't be there if I ever needed him.
The way I cope with deployment is, you know, waiting for, you know, the one time I'll get a phone call with my dad, or the webcam chats that we might have occasionally. And when I was younger, my mom, she made this big book of his pictures that if we ever got sad or we missed him so much, we could just go to this book of pictures and just, you know, remember him and all those times we had when he was there. And so those would help out a lot.
My relationship with my mom, she's one of my closest friends, and I know that I can go to her for anything, for help except for math. Like, my dad's the one that I go to if I need him to pick me up and dust me off. And if there's some fancy algebra problem, you know, I know that he's always there for me.
My relationship with my dad while he was on deployment he was kind of like a distant parent. He was never really like my close parent like my mom was. Now that he's on shore duty, we have a much, much closer relationship. He's like my closest friend right now. You know, he's my best friend.
My dad came back from deployment. We met him at the aircraft hangar where he worked. It was great. I mean, there was just so much joy. You saw sailors walking off the ship for the first time, seeing their newborn children. It was just great to see so many people finally get this weight off their chest, be so relieved and so happy again.
When my parents come back from deployment, it's always a really nice time. We always go somewhere fun that we haven't been before, or even somewhere we've been before. It's more special seeing that we've not been before.
When my dad came back, it was just so exciting seeing the airplanes just come in and land, and seeing all of the soldiers, all of the men and women just filing out and just standing on our tiptoes and looking for my dad, and just seeing everybody, like people meeting their newborns and families, grandparents. It was just really happy, and it's probably one of the best things about being a military kid is just realizing how happy and how cherished your parents are.
If someone asked me about like deployment, I would say to not always think about it and keep yourself busy with something else around school or camps or anything.
If somebody wanted me to give them advice on how to deal with deployment, I would say to just be optimistic and focus on the bright lights, like web chats with your mom or dad, or letters and emails and pictures. And don't dwell on what might happen and what ifs. Just to keep on telling yourself that they will come home. And just don't think of your life as not normal, because lots of people consider that normal. So just be optimistic and just try to cherish the moments that you had before and that you have while they're gone.
When I see a person in uniform, what I think is what he must have gone through to get where he is today. He's probably been down in ditches, sleeping at night, hoping to come back home to his parents, to his kids. And I also think he's been through it all.
A person in uniform, I feel like I'm safe, I'm protected, because I know that he or she was once protecting our country to make sure that everyone was safe.
When I see anyone in a uniform, I know I have to respect them and that they did something good for us, not anything bad, but something good. And always give respect to someone in uniform.
When I see a person in uniform, I think that's going to be me someday. I don't know if I'm going to be ending up working in the office or overseas, but I just know that it's going to be me. And plus, I like a man in uniform.
While I'm with my dad while he's in uniform and somebody recognizes him and they come up to him and they're like, "Thank you for serving our country," I feel so proud that he is my dad, and and that he sacrifices so much of his family life for everybody else around him.